Hello. Normally I say welcome to the ThinkShare, but this is not the ThinkShare channel. This is just my channel. So today I have a special guest. His name is Immanuel. He has a pretty big YouTube channel as well as a pretty big Instagram channel. He talks a lot about depression and anxiety and a variety of different things, really inspirational, consistently helping us develop. And currently he is doing a 30-day no drinking challenge. So rather than talk about him, I'm going to let him sort of introduce himself. So Immanuel, if you would tell us a little bit about what your channel is like, what your personal brand is like, and maybe a little bit about like, I know you're from like not quite the Midwest, but yes, tell us about yourself.
Okay, well, first off, I appreciate you having me on the live stream. What is up, everybody? My name is Immanuel. I run the channel, a community called Depression Talks with Immanuel, and I help people that deal with depression, anxiety, and low self-esteem by opening up about my own clinical depression, anxiety. And Zach pointed to the fact that I'm currently doing the 30-day no alcohol challenge because I am a recovering alcoholic, but openly, I just want to try to change the mental health stigma and allow people to be open about their mental health so that way they feel like they're not alone. That's the biggest thing. I want people to understand they're not alone. So thank you for having me, bro.
Welcome. So that's, and you also have an Instagram. How would you describe like what your Instagram looks like?
So my Instagram is currently a place, I'm kind of rebranding it, but it's a place where I kind of just show you the behind the scenes of my life. And I sing in the car, I might hang out with my friends, and I just show you that I'm a regular, ordinary person just like you are. And you know how, like, I'm gonna ask Zach a question, but you know how sometimes there might be a perception about a YouTube creator, their life is all fabulous and amazing, but it's like, no, just be yourself, be your authentic self. And that means more to people than being fake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I one of the things I've been trying to do lately, but just haven't really gotten the ball rolling is I challenged one of my students that is a rapper, and Gemma Grace, a YouTuber, that I did a poetry challenge with her in the summer to do a rap / poem a day on my Instagram, less than a minute. I uploaded one, but I've only put up one so far. I haven't been doing like I want to, but it's really interesting, kind of the difference between Instagram and YouTube and how they're totally different types of content. So I've been trying to get more into Instagram because I feel like there's a lot of the people that we end up seeing and talking to and interacting with dabble in both.
Yeah, I agree, man. Do you think, I mean, I don't think that, I'm not trying to get off subject here, but
No worries.
okay. Especially people that may, you know, in your community, I wonder if they feel like you seem more authentic or your true self through YouTube, since it's a video of yourself, than maybe Instagram, which is a shorter video. What do you think about that?
I think as a whole platform, I feel like Instagram occurs to me as a bit more fake, just because there's so many models on there. There's so many people like taking pictures of themselves working out, and like there's a lot of people trying to build personal brands with modeling. And because of that, like they put so much effort into having good curated pictures. And it feels like there's a little bit less room for like the daily rawness of things. I feel like that's kind of where Snapchat has more of the market share of like raw daily self footage. So I think that for the people that follow Gary Vee in the world, I think they find it a little less important to have like perfect content. And I've followed his example rather than having like, what was his thing? Do you follow Gary Vaynerchuk?
I do. I'm a really big fan of Gary Vee.
Freaking love him. What was he said, instead of creating, to document things.
Yeah,
so,
document.
Yeah, like you had a picture on your Instagram the other day of like was it your soccer cleats or something?
Yeah. I did. Like you
Also,
said, bro.
I'm
Yeah, go
putting
ahead, go
into
ahead.
the description your Instagram. What is the actual handle?
The actual handle is at _ Immanuel Jones. That is the actual handle. at _ Immanuel Jones.
Got it. All right, it's in there now. Yeah, so I think one of the things that I think really inspired me to ask you to do an interview with me is I've been loving your 30-day no drinking challenge. You've been so candid and kind of raw and real with people about what you're dealing with, what you're going through, the daily challenges, the daily positives, like the small wins, the big wins, the losses, the grind of it all. And it's been a mix of like, I think it's kind of fun because some of the videos, like, I think you just had your phone and you were wandering around and it was, and then there was like there have been a bunch where you're in your bedroom, like, or at somewhere else, like sitting in front of the camera. And it's been, I know the challenges of daily videos because I did them for a little over a year with the ThinkShare. And you do a really great job keeping the quality very high of it. So I've been loving to tuning in every day to see what you have to say, what you've been dealing with. What was it that sort of inspired the beginning of the specific 30-day challenge?
Oh boy. Okay. We're about to get into it. Well, first off, right on, bro, for saying that, man. I don't know how you did it for over a year. That is impressive because I am dying over here doing it. But no, so as I said earlier, I have clinical depression and anxiety, and I had become an alcoholic 3.5 years ago. I was drinking, 4, 5, 6 days a week by myself. And I had to go to the hospital at one point because I had gastritis and it almost turned into an ulcer in my stomach. So over the years and years and years of drinking, I had gotten to a point where I was like, I'm tired of this. I'm ready to give it up. Now, this is the first time I've made it this far. I've attempted multiple times of giving up alcohol, at least 10 times. And this is the first time that I made it public that I'm giving it up. And I think that's what has pushed me further this time to get this far. But the last thing I want to say about that real quick is I know that I'm very open and vulnerable about my depression and about my journey. And I think the reason why is because it's rare to know people that are this open. And since everyone is so secretive about their life, nobody feels okay about their mental health. Nobody feels okay with talking about that they struggle with alcohol or other addictions. And that's why I'm open about it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I've really tried to do with the ThinkShare channel was I feel like there's a lot of channels out there that, give advice daily and say, they have great quotes and they have great mantras and great things. Yeah, you should do this. And I've really tried to have it not just be that, but be like, yeah, definitely go do this. And here's how I did it. And here's what I'm doing. And here's how I'm trying to role model the behavior that I'm speaking.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's been what's been also really powerful about the series. So you're what, 16, 17 days in?
Today is day 19.
19. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel as though I see, like, I watch your content too, and you're really open about your life and you're expressing it, and maybe that's why your audience connects with you more. And I actually like to see in the comments, like if somebody's watching this live or even the playback, do you feel like the reason why you connect with Zach is because he's so authentic, you like his content? I think you're curious about that too.
I just realized I think I switched out of the actual live stream, so I'm not looking at the comments. Hold on a second. Let me get in front of the comments. Oh, Gemma's here. Awesome. Have you met Gemma or have you seen her channel before?
No, I have not. Gemma, what is up? Yo, thank you for saying I'm fantastic. I think you're fantastic too, even though I never met you before, but I still think you're fantastic because your channel name looks amazing.
Yeah, so she has autism. She's in the UK, and we've done a couple interviews together. Me on her channel, her on my channel, and she's been she was the one that I did the a 21-day challenge for doing poetry every day, because she expressed interest in like sharing her poetry on camera. And she was saying, my favorite part of the interaction was, I said, how long does it take you to do a poem? She's like, I don't know, like a couple days. I said, that's about to change. You're going to do it every day.
Man, that's a big jump.
Yeah. So it's been really fun growing along with her. Her channel's also, I think, doubled or more since I met her back in like March or so, maybe May.
Wow.
So she's been kicking ass.
Damn.
I'll go back to one of my questions that I have for you. Oh, so at the end of your videos, you always say, so as I always say, do you stay swagalicious and keep smiling? So
wow,
to you, what does swagalicious mean?
Wow. Okay, first of all, dude, you memorized it. That's crazy. Okay, all right. Yeah, so every single video I say, all right, I'll do it here just to do it. Okay. As I always say, do you stay swagalicious and keep smiling? Right? So swagalicious, swag, all that stuff means being your whole authentic self, being who you are, being true to yourself. Like, don't try to change who you are just to fit in. Don't change the way you look, the way you act, the way you talk, the way you dress. Just be yourself. There's enough other people in the world already. So just be original. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like a lot of people try to imitate others, or a lot of people are being true to who they are?
I mean, I think since middle school, all of us have got it. I think the height of us trying to be other people is in middle school, and I think a lot of people have learned from there how to step outside and kind of be their own person. But there's still a lot of people that have not shed off the fear of being themselves. I mean, I think on some level every day, I'm not 100% myself. Now, sometimes that's like me just trying to be responsible. Like, it's kind of hard to tell what ourselves are, because I've been practicing and sort of learning that I am not my thoughts. So if I'm not my thoughts, and who am I? I'm the observer of my thoughts. I'm the observer of my life experience. And if that's who I am, then I have no identity. I have no, I mean, actions come up and things come up, which is what we would probably describe as our personality. I mean, I definitely have tendencies, like I would say I'm extroverted. But I don't know. I think sometimes being ourselves is sort of going after the things that we feel are important to us. And I feel like the things that are important to us are usually something that had to do with some major moment in our early parts of life. So like, have you ever heard of the Landmark Forum?
I'm not.
It's a 3-day like professional development / personal development training course. And I feel like the day I took that and some of the other Landmark courses, I realized this is missing from education. I've wanted to be a teacher, and I feel like this didn't get taught to me. And it was like, the main thing was like, you are not your thoughts, and you can observe your thoughts, which is a sort of a Buddhist way of thinking. And like, you are who you say you are, rather than you are all these labels that we've all kind of been chasing after for a long time. Like, we've been chasing after being able to say, I'm an A student, or I'm a soccer player, I'm a football player, I'm a rugby player, I'm a college graduate, I'm a high school graduate. And I've realized that one of my business cards, the first one that I created for like my book and stuff, is I realized on the back, I just had a bunch of labels about who I was rather than the things that I do. So I said, I'm a dance floor clearer, I'm an author, I'm a teacher. And I realized how attached I was to all these labels, which to me, I thought they were my authentic labels. Like, they're fun and they're represent who I am. So coming back to your question, are people being themselves? It's hard to tell whether we're being ourselves. I think the only way to tell whether we're being ourselves is if we are taking action out of fear or if we're taking action out of what kind of comes from within. Like,
Well, that's hard.
Like I know I see it in my students all the time at any school. Is if they start, flexing, like if I know, like if I start talking about my YouTube channel and how many views I have or things about it, if I'm saying those things because someone asked, that's very different than if I'm saying those things because I felt the need to sort of posture and, look like I'm in command and like feel confident in front of people, which at the basis level is out of fear. So I guess being swaggerlicious and being yourself would be like coming from confidence, coming from I'm okay with myself rather than coming from fear and I need to look a certain way so that people see me a certain way.
So that's a difficult concept. I mean, I agree with that. I do agree with that concept, but it's interesting. Like you said that we're not our thoughts. We are an observer of our thoughts.
Yeah.
But see, it's so weird. Like depression is a part of who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though my thoughts, like so I have anxiety as well. So my mind will like go and go and go and go and go.
Yeah.
And but those are parts of like who I am. But are you kind of saying that like who you say you are is who you are, right?
Yeah.
But
so
if I
depression
say
is a part of you because you say it is.
Oh,
not necessarily because it's true, just because you say so.
Okay. I was like, I don't know, because if I were to say like depression is not a part of who I am, or anxiety is not a part of who I am, I don't think that's a true statement. You know what I'm saying?
I see where you're going with that.
Mm-hmm. It's like a powerful thing, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense or not, but if I were to say, it's okay. If we don't think the same way, that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if I say like depression is not a part of who I am, then could I be possibly disregarding if I have depression?
Yeah. So, I mean, saying that, let's see. So like someone in my life was diagnosed with bipolar and they told people about it. And when people would say, oh, they are bipolar, I would even do this to strangers sometimes. I'd feel so convicted about it, is that when people would say, oh, they are bipolar, I would say, no, they have bipolar disorder. Because the moment that we start saying we are these things, I think it owns us more than we own it. So
I agree wholeheartedly. Yes. Okay.
So it sounds like I feel like when you say depression is a part of me, I feel like a rephrasing of that I think would fall within both of our sort of philosophies would be that if you're the observer of your thoughts and depressing thoughts thoughts and anxieties thoughts that come from your anxiety and depression are something that you as an observer and as a person are often dealing with, which shapes your life, which shapes the experience of your life, then I can definitely see that. And I think it's always hard to try to step back and be an observer of our thoughts because I mean, oftentimes it's like our life experience can also be like internal. Like as much as we experience all this stuff outside of us, like the majority of our life experience is just like our experience inside this body.
Yeah, it is. Our thoughts. Like there's I forgot what it was. I forgot who shared the story. It could have been Gary for all I know. But there's a person that they're coaching somebody, a mentee. There it goes, a mentee. And one mentee dealt with depression, low confidence, all that stuff. One mentee was confident. The first mentee went to a bar or whatever, and the instructor said, go talk to that girl. they had a good conversation, and he came back and was like, the instructors asked him, you had a good conversation, so she must like you. She's like, nah, she's just being nice. And then he goes talk to another girl, gets their number, comes back, and the instructor's like, see, like you're an attractive person, like you're confident, you're attractive. She liked you. She gave you her number.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, it could be fake. Right. So then the confident person does the same exact thing, the same thing. First girl talks to him, have a great conversation, and the instructor said, she likes you. The confident person says, well, people tend to like me.
Yeah.
And then he got another girl's number, and then the instructor asked him, he got her number. She must like you. He's like, well, I'm a likable person, so, it happens.
Yeah.
It's all perspective. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
But when it comes to depression, it's just sometimes for people and anxiety, sometimes it's harder to bounce back out of the cycle of thoughts that are
Right.
negative, than somebody that doesn't deal with depression.
Now, I mean, do you think that over time that you'll be able to not see depression as something that is a part of you necessarily? It's something that you no longer have?
Ooh, I have been asked this question before. I think that one perspective of it is if I say no, then somebody could say, well, then you're always going to be trapped in depression. And then if I say yes, one day I'll beat depression, then, people are like, good, that's awesome. I think my honest answer to that is I think I learned how to better manage depression. I'm not sure if it's something that I'll ever get rid of or ever stop being or something like that. But I learned how to better manage it because through this journey of YouTube, through this journey of life, I've experienced like a lot of things due to my depression. And I mean, from the good all the way to the worst you can imagine. So I just learned how to better manage it. I still struggle with it. I mean, I still have this YouTube channel explaining my struggles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. There's no right or wrong answer to that one.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But I saw like this one of the other questions I kind of want to expand upon.
Yeah.
I saw like one of your questions was, when did you start dealing with your mental and physical health a positive light? So are you saying when I start like looking at my mental health as a positive light?
Part of that was me dictating on the phone this morning, and it probably came out funny. But what I was trying to say was, like, you started your YouTube channel, you started your Instagram, and I think anyone witnessing like what you're creating here in your community and with your content, is that, I mean, your goal is to inspire. Your goal is to, at the end of the day, shared your life experience to maybe help get it off your chest, but at the same time, offer it to people in such a way that they can feel empowered by it. So I feel like there's a huge difference between someone that's dealing with what you're dealing with and not taking any of these actions, and someone dealing with what you're dealing with and trying to inspire people about it. Because I feel like it almost occurs to me as like depression to you is something that's not killing you, that's making you stronger.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's seeing it in a positive, that's almost seeing it as a hurdle that's making you stronger. And you're seeing it as almost as a positive in your life. Cause it's like, if you walk around with a 20-pound weight vest, you get hella stronger.
Right.
So you're walking around with this weight vest, and that's
true.
the way to look at it.
That is a good way to look at it. Wow, I'm not gonna lie, I might make a video about that. I like that a lot. Wow. Okay. No, it's like, I'm not sure how long it took until, honestly, me almost not being here anymore. It took until that moment to really realize that my depression it sucks. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh well, hey, I'm depressed and I'm happy as can be because I have it. But at the same time, because of my depression and anxiety, I think about life in such a different way. I see it as something I can use to better learn about myself, and I have more empathy for other people because of my depression, because of my anxiety. I'm able to talk to you and other people and about anything you're going through and make you feel comfortable, make you feel better because of what I go through. So, no, I view my depression as like, I think that we're people that deal with mental health in general are special in a way because they see life a lot differently than most people do.
Yeah.
It's almost like a gift. I know it sounds weird, but it's like a gift that we have instead of this negative, suppressing, terrible thing that we can't control. Um, but this goes to your earlier point. You can either say, hey, I deal with this depression's beating me, and then now you're our depression, or you can say, hey, this is a gift, and now you can see it differently. So it goes to your earlier point about what you say is who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
if we think, I always thought I was trying to be funny the first day of school a couple years ago. And first day of school, we are like doing some like name games so I could get to know their names better. And like at some point, one of the girls said, I'm tired. I said, oh, hi, tired. Nice to meet you. And like, oftentimes in that class, at some point I realized it was just kind of detracting from lessons and stuff, and it wasn't useful. But the goal I was trying to accomplish was that one of the things I've talked about before is that do you know any Spanish?
Sí, hablo mucho español, sí.
Word. So what's the English translation for saying your age?
¿Cuántos años tienes is how old are you? So tengo 15 años or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's I have, right there you said I have 15 years, right?
Right.
So how's that different than what we say in English?
I am.
Yeah, so we totally define ourselves based on our age versus, in Spanish, I'm sure I would bet, I don't know how you could pull this or like how you could measure this, but I would bet that people are far less anxious about getting old as Americans are, or as English speakers are, just because they look at it as an attribute. It's like something they have versus something that they are. Like, so I mean, I just turned 28, and like, I remember someone was like commiserating with me, oh, I'm 29, we're getting old. And I was just like, dude, I got 28 years under my belt now. Like, I got some ammo. I got like some experiences. So constantly thinking about who we are by what we say we are has been a big shift in my life since about 2013. So let's go to the next question.
All right. For some reason, I feel like I have just lost you.
Yeah.
Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you, and I can see.
There you go.
Oh, there you are.
Okay. Somebody called me. See, this, I don't know how to like stop people from calling, but
are you on your iPhone?
I have a Google Pixel 2.
Oh, cool. I just assume people have iPhones when it's a smartphone. How do you like it, by the way?
I love the phone. I think it takes great pictures. I like the quality of it. I used to be iPhone all day, every day, bro. But
have you had an iPhone before?
I've had an iPhone for years and years and years.
How does it compare? I've been wanting to ask somebody that's made the switch.
So the Google Pixel 2 it's nice. I think it's really nice. I noticed that Instagram kind of works differently, but it depends on how you use your phone. If you are the type of person that likes to customize your phone, all the small intricate things, then get a Android. But if you like simple, like super simple, then I would stick with iPhone. And it depends on what laptop you have. If you're having a Mac, it would probably be easier having an iPhone. If you have Windows, then it doesn't matter which one you have. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Is there a similar feature to airdropping things?
There is not, but you find a way around it. So I have something called Share It, and it works just as fast. Like there's AirDrop is the biggest thing, and I was like, man, I'm about to miss that. But you find the ways around it, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good to know. So if you want it more customized, go with Android. if you want it simple. And I feel like there's an elegance to the simplicity of an iPhone that I've been sort of unwilling to let go of. But some days I feel like Android might probably serve me, because I feel like I am enough of a nerd that there are plenty of things I'd like to customize in it.
Yes, I'm telling you, man. I don't know. It's the same phone. iPhone 7 through iPhone 10X is pretty
Yeah,
much the same exact phone, but more
yeah,
expensive.
yeah.
Yeah.
Little bit more memory and or maybe a little bit faster, and a nicer camera. But yeah, I agree. Pretty much all the same.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
So we sort of talked about Instagram. So I'll go with the second question I have for you. Which social media platform did you start creating content for first?
So I actually
With the intention to build a personal brand.
definitely YouTube. YouTube is definitely the first one. I started YouTube back in like 2011. I used to be a
Okay.
dancer,
Oh,
but yeah, and I had deleted that channel, the whole channel.
no.
And if I had that channel still, I might have more authority. It's like it's just so annoying. But anyways,
When did you
um,
delete it?
I deleted it probably like 2.5 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah, so all that went to trash. So that happened. But YouTube's definitely the first one, man. But it wasn't until March of this year that Depression Talks with Emmanuel that I knew exactly my mission, if you will, or my purpose. When I started almost 2 years ago now, I knew I wanted to help people with just being themselves and stuff like that. But I used to do relationship advice. I used to do like vlogs, all this stuff. And now I'm like so niche down because this is what I believe my purpose is. What about you? Which one's the first platform you started creating
Um,
content for?
um, I mean, well, with the intention for a personal brand, I would say YouTube. So I wrote a book back in 2016. Actually, this channel right here, I have a video that dates back to 2007, which was how to make a Starburst
Wow.
bracelet. And through my college years, when I wasn't really paying attention to its activity, it got to 50,000 views, back before like watch time existed.
Wow.
Um, so, and I didn't really get any I wasn't posting constantly, but I think I put out like 3 4 videos back like senior year of high school. It was like my evolution of dance performance in high school, which was the first time I was being swagalicious, like out in public dancing. Um, and like a couple videos of me high jumping, and then a video of me dunking like for the second time in my life. And then let's see, I don't think I put out anything during college. And then in 2014 or 2013, I put out another one, and then maybe a second or third one in 2000 and later that year. And then after I wrote the book in 2016, I realized how like I wrote the book because it was sort of like my purpose, sort of like what you had said, and I just wanted to get my sort of my message out to people in a different
Hmm.
way. And I originally it was just meant to be an audiobook, and then it turned into a regular book because I had to write a script for the audiobook. So I started making YouTube videos because my students at the time, middle schoolers, that I really wanted to receive the messages. I realized how much they love their YouTubers, and I realized like how much swag stuff they had from their YouTubers. And I
Hmm.
thought, wow. And it wasn't meant to like sell to my students, but I realized, wow, maybe YouTube's a really, I mean, I enjoyed talking into the camera a bit, but
Hmm.
I decided maybe this would be a great way to market my book. And then I just kind of kept going with it, probably like 3 4 5 months in. I was having a lot of fun. I was trying to make something every couple of days, but I didn't have
Hmm.
a schedule about it. And I had one video hit like 2,000 when I had one of my students cutting my hair from a
Man.
challenge. And then yeah, that was my best one at that time. And then at the beginning of 2017, I said, all right, one of my New Year's goals is, oh, thank you, Gemma. It's sweet of you. Um, oh, see, this is where I gotta be careful watching the comments. I get so off track,
No worries, no worries, no worries, no worries.
um, but yeah, I said I wanted to rebrand because I wanted to. It was like a mix of videos with my students. It was videos like of kind of random stuff, and I wanted to keep the channel, but it just didn't feel like it was a brand. There's something off about it, so I kept making some videos. I made the one in March that did really well. It has 95,000 views on it now.
Yeah,
And then
wow.
I created the Think Share, and I thought that was like that's something a bit more scalable. My name's not attached to it, so I can like if I ever wanted to have someone else take it over, or I could like sell it or something. Like I was thinking along the lines of like, what is it, Soul Pancake. Like Soul Pancake has a pretty wide variety of stuff that's all pretty inspirational. Like they get Kid President, but they also have like social dares and challenges and stuff. So yeah, rebranded, and then I just haven't gotten into the flow of Instagram. I'm not quite sure why, but yeah, YouTube's my stuff.
That's that's understandable, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I haven't had one viral video, bro. Like
No,
that's crazy.
I've
What?
had. I would say I've had. I mean, I guess you could say I've had three. So I mean, I wouldn't say I'm good at riding the like the waves of like how social media and how like the media goes, but I feel like when you're making daily videos for I mean let's see, in total now between the two channels I have 460 plus 130, that's 490. I have like 590 videos or something like that. And I figure if I hit enough topics that are either controversial or just relevant, that I had more bullets getting shot out, and hopefully one of them would hit a target. So the first viral one was the Starburst bracelet, which it was like the number three if you searched Starburst bracelet throughout college. And then it's really interesting because I was number three, and the girl that was number two and the other person that was number one, like I had 50,000. I think the other girl now has like a couple million. So it's really interesting just what the difference in like number one versus two and three is in like YouTube status.
Wow.
My second viral video, I mean, I thought it was viral at the time, but looking back, it really wasn't, was the haircut one. And it was mostly just because my students loved watching it and they loved sharing it with like everyone in the city. And that's at like 4,000 now, but it was huge for me then because it hit like 1,500 like in 2 days or something. And then February last year when the Patriots lost the Super Bowl, which this is a really interesting lesson about viral videos and about how the algorithm works. I don't want to talk too much about YouTube just because I feel like this interview is meant to be much more digging into how awesome you are, but
right on.
Anyway, so I just took a bunch of like clips during the Super Bowl of me reacting, or like when there was a tense moment, I'd turn the record button on, or if we wanted to make a prediction or a funny commercial. So I had like an hour's worth of footage, and I was like, oh man, like how am I going to cut this into 4 minutes? Because I had promised myself to make them all my videos would be under 4 minutes, because then they're in the short versus long filter. So I was like, there's like, I don't know, I'll cut it down to like 10 minutes, like cut myself some slack. So I make this thing 10 minutes. It's like really not that great of a video. I don't really expect much. I'm like, yeah, like I was getting maybe like 20 or 30 views per video. And then I was like, maybe this will get like 70 or maybe 100, because it's really like it's like a topic that people are going to be doing. So I put it out there, and like it hit like 400 on the second day. I was like, holy crap, that's awesome. I was like, no way. And then the next day it hit like 2,000. I was like, what? And then I forget, I was disappointed on the day that it happened because I was like doing my first housework at our house and we're demoing one of the rooms. I was dirty all day, but I kept looking at my phone and all of a sudden it hit like 10,000 and then 15,000, then 20,000. And then like it just kept climbing. So what happened, it hit the suggested videos like on the side, or maybe it was like one of those autoplay ones, but like I think that day I might have hit my record for like views in a day, which was like 15 or 20,000 or something.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, bro.
yeah,
What?
yeah. But the really interesting part that I realized why it made it to the suggested was not because it was good, but because when you're watching a reaction video for a sporting event, like if you're 5 minutes in and you're bored, what do? Do you end the video or do you do something else?
You do something else.
Yeah, you click to the end. You like look to see,
Right.
oh, well, how does he freak out? Does he throw a chair
Right.
at the TV? Like, does he start screaming obscenities? So what was happening was people are watching all the way through. So it was getting a lot of watch time. So even though it was 10
Ah.
minutes, 30% of viewers watched the whole thing, which that was giving me a ton of watch time, one, and
Mm-hmm.
two, because you get a lot of watch time and because people are watching a higher percentage of it all the way through, means they'll put on suggested. And if you notice, if you scroll through your phone in the suggested, there's no, it doesn't say how long the video is.
Oh, I never looked at that.
Yeah. So when you are looking at videos in your feed of like what it's suggesting for you, you'll notice it doesn't show you how much time, because most of the time they're like 10, 12, 15, 20, 30-minute videos.
Right.
Because those like that's why Vine compilations go viral, because you're constantly like you can't not stop watching. It's so hard to turn off a Vine
Right.
compilation in the middle. Like
Right.
I've learned this about myself, or like I just love watching like sports highlights. So if
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to catch up on the NFL like Monday morning, I will open up like the Bengals versus Steelers, and I'll go straight to like 7 minutes out of the 10 and watch the last 3 minutes of it, because I know that I don't have the discipline to like stop halfway through the first quarter and jump to the fourth quarter. So
It's hard, bro. It's hard having to keep somebody through a whole video. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Especially with
seriously,
like our content. We're talking, and
yeah,
that's really hard. So, but what I've learned is storytelling, bro. Like that's all. Like
absolutely.
I have practiced storytelling over and over and over again, and this month is actually like kind of killed. Okay, it's kind of maybe it sounds bad. It's going to sound very bad. Okay,
Go ahead.
but um, doing this 30-day no alcohol challenge, I've noticed like every single thing has went down for the most part in terms of how many people are coming and joining the community.
Yep.
But my watch time, my views, all that has like gone up. It's like skyrocketing.
Yeah.
So what that shows me is that like not everybody talks about alcohol. That's one. And then two, in the long run, that playlist is most likely going to be a massive growth for this community, my channel. And already like I'm about to be coming out with content that is going to be more cinematographic, is going to be more
Mm,
captivating to watch, that you're gonna be like, man, what happens at the end? Like what messages you sharing?
yeah.
I can't wait for that. That's why I'm ready for this month to be over. But yeah, man, it's definitely not easy growing an audience. And I noticed that Gemma says basically like, what advice do you offer to disabled community? I don't know if you saw that comment or not.
Oh yeah, I see that now.
Yeah, I kind of want to touch about that
Yeah,
because you
go
kind of
ahead.
talked
Put
about,
it up.
yeah. So the reason why I think that, for example, like those videos went viral is because you stayed relevant to what was happening. You stayed relevant to current
Yep.
trends, and you talked about it. And when it comes to anything, any community that you want to build, you have to make sure what you're talking about is relevant and that you're bringing value to somebody else. So
Yeah.
I haven't seen her. I haven't seen Gemma's channel, but the more value you bring to your audience, the more authentic you are to who you are, the right people you connect with. Don't try to reach everybody. Reach the people
Right.
that you want to impact the most, and that's how you grow any community, whether they be the disabled community, the any community.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say your personal niche is, or do you have
Um,
one?
it's kind of funny is I feel like I aimed for something different than the results that I've had. Originally, I had aimed for like younger, maybe teenagers, high school kids. And it's turned out like when I look at the demographics of people that watch, it's a lot more my age, like like 18 to 20 something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Depending on the videos. So like when the Super Bowl video was trending, it was like males like 25 to 34 or something, or to 40 something. But when the pride video about having a pride flag in my classroom, when that went viral, it was a lot more females and a lot younger. Um,
Hmm.
but in general, I'm always a little bit surprised that people my age watch me more than my original target audience, which is like teenagers.
I mean, yeah, I guess what did Sean Cannell say? He said your audience determines your audience. Something like that. Like basically like we like when people say I'm reaching people that are in their 50s, like look at your actual audience. They
Yeah,
determine who your audience is.
right.
You know, I found that
Do
interesting.
you follow? I love listening. They're like the number one place I go to. Video influencers and Think Media.
Mm-hmm.
They're the first
Mm-hmm.
place I go to about anything that I need to brush up on.
Good man. Nick Nimmin.
I
Do
don't
you
know who
listen to
that
Nick?
is.
Oh, bro, dude, Nick Nimmin, bro, is oh my gosh, man. He is so helpful. It's insane how helpful he is. Nick Nimmin with two M's.
All right, I
That
found him.
man, oh my gosh, bro.
Is
Him,
he similar to like Sean?
I personally enjoy watching Nick's videos more than Sean's, more than Benji's, more than all that. I mean, I like video creators, video influencers, Think
Yeah,
Media. I like all that stuff, but
yeah.
Nick Nimmin, he breaks it down, bro.
All right, all right. I'll have to
Yeah,
check him out.
yeah, man. Or Brian G. Johnson. That they do a lot of things together. So, but Nick Nim is the best. I don't care what nobody says, man. That man is the best.
Sounds good.
um, yeah. But sorry to get off subject there,
Yeah.
man. You know how we do.
Coming back to Gemma's question. So, Immanuel, what advice would you offer to the disabled community? So,
Mm-hmm.
I know she associates with them as she has autism, and I know we've talked about. I think one of the things that she was excited about when I first met her on a live stream, she came onto my channel, was I was talking about how in America, as a teacher, we have 504s, which are they're like documents that outline things that teachers actually have to do to make sure that content and things are accessible to people with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine you would do a great, you would, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Uh, you'd really be able to speak to people that are dealing with anxiety as a disability. And I'm sure you can
Mm.
touch on other things.
Yeah. So you're talking about Gemma talking about those subjects, correct?
Yeah, she often talks a lot about anxiety. She often talks about like sensory overloads that she deals with as an autistic person with autism.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Joe, I'm trying to think of some of the other main things.
Mm-hmm.
I always think it's funny is whenever I'm talking with her and she's like, "Oh yeah, like I'm nervous over here," and I'm like, "I just don't get any of that from you. I don't see it.
Oh,
Like you might
really?
feel like that inside, and I don't see any of it."
Oh, see, this is an interesting thing. So, to that point,
Yeah.
the same thing applies with depression. The same thing applies with mental health.
Mhm.
Um, when people, so just like her, just like Gemma, you're like, you don't look like you're, anxious right now.
Yeah.
And she really is on the inside. When I tell people that I have clinical depression or I have anxiety, um, I smile all the time, bro, and they're
Yeah.
looking at me like, no, you don't. So that is one of the biggest lessons about anything in terms of mental health, disabilities, anything in life. You can't always judge a book by its cover. It's so easy to.
Yeah.
I know that you weren't doing that, obviously, in a negative way, but some people
Yeah.
do. They don't believe you when you say, you deal with things like that. And man, there's so much more I could talk about that. It's just so now I'm getting upset about it because
Does it feel like a lot of people do judge you, like for being a happy person, and when you tell them you have depression, or when maybe I imagine that you said what you said right there, how it's like it's like frustrating, is that I imagine people judge you for a really happy person, and so they create expectations of you that you'll act a certain way, and they don't realize that you're dealing with depression. So
mm-hmm,
sometimes you act in different ways than they would expect, and so you get frustrated, like, oh, like
mm-hmm,
you don't really
mm-hmm.
know who I am, and you've been judging me.
It's in a weird way that really doesn't bother me, I guess.
Yeah.
People are like, because I smile all the time. I can see why somebody would think that I'm happy all the time. The
Mm-hmm.
issue I have is when like some people, if somebody expresses to you that they're depressed, most people don't understand depression anyways, because they may not experience it themselves. It's not talked about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So normally the people's response is, if I come to you, Zach, right now and say, man, dude, I'm depressed right now, and I feel like I don't want to be here anymore. Like, these things happen.
Yeah.
Most people's response is, look at the positives that are happening in your life. Like, look at the positives that are happening in your life. People have it worse off than you do. Suck it up. What else? Dude, you're not appreciating what you have.
Mm-hmm.
Those responses are very common, and the reason why that makes me upset is because when you say things like that to somebody that's depressed, when you say things like, look at all the positives in your life.
Wait, can I guess what you're gonna say?
Go
Because
ahead.
I know I'm a repeat offender of saying those things
Mm-hmm.
often. I bet you're going to say something like it invalidates what they're trying to express. It invalidates like how their experience, and so
Mm-hmm.
like by invalidating them, like it's really hard to hear anything they have to say after that.
That is one, that's huge. Yes, that's one big thing I'm about to say. Perfectly said. That's one big thing. The second thing is it makes, I would say us, that's what I'll say. It makes us feel like we are unappreciative. Like, dang, all these good things are happening in my life. You're right. And I
Mm.
still feel this way. Wow. Like, how bad of a person am I? Or how unappreciative of
And
a
that
person
probably
am
makes
I?
it worse, right?
It
Is
makes it worse.
mm,
It makes it worse. So what I've noticed is that when somebody opens up about their depression, what I normally do is like, okay, I had a friend recently. She was actually like suicidal, and she had said like, I don't want to be here anymore. She had said all these things, and I said to her, I said every single thing you said is right. Like every single thing you said that's going wrong in your life, you're exactly right. Those things suck. And she looked at me like, wait, what? And I said, no, continue. Tell me what's wrong. Tell me what's wrong. I'm here. Tell me right now what's wrong. What's going on? And she kept going. She kept going after a while, telling her that it's okay. And then I said, okay, now what you're not realizing is that if you're not here anymore, though, you didn't say things. She's like, what are you talking about? All those other things suck. But what you didn't say is that you'll miss hanging out with me. You'll miss your awesome meals. You'll miss the music that you love. You'll miss. And then she started crying. She was like, she kept thinking so much about the negative and thinking that's the only aspect of life instead of understanding that there's two sides of the same coin. When you help, like, so basically, when somebody's talking to you about their depression, it's just important to listen to them, hear them out, and say, it's not wrong for you to think that way. I'm here to listen and to talk more about why you feel that way instead of trying to change their
right.
mindset. I'm going to change the way you feel right now. Like, that's what most people do. I want to change your perspective.
Yeah.
Hear them where they stand. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I feel like one of the things I've learned over the past couple of years, like working on becoming a better husband and just listening, is oftentimes I think people share things to feel heard, not to have their problem fixed.
Man, I need to get some paper and write some stuff down, bro. Dang, yeah, man. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, me and
Hold
my
up.
wife, we've gotten, I think we've gotten better at, here, you can just write down, you can write down what time in the interview we just said that.
Yeah,
Actually,
please, man.
I can't tell how far we are in. Um, but yeah, I know one thing I've noticed with my wife is that we've gotten better and better at sharing with each other, like, so like if I start like venting or something, I might say ahead of time, hey, I really just need you to hear me right now and not try to fix my problem, because I'll probably fix it just by talking out loud to you. And sometimes after she says something, like it sounds like she has a problem, I'll say sometimes. So one of the things I learned at this landmark program was this idea of recreation. So recreation is like you're trying to pretty much just active listening, which is like saying back to the person like what they said to you without like repeating them. So like if an ideal example is not only that you're able to say it back to them. Hold on a second.
No worries.
Ideally what you're doing is not just responding back to them like what they said, like, but also, if you can, looking for the commitment underneath the issue they're having. So for example, if I go to work and I say, oh man, like it was a rough day, one of my colleagues did X, Y, and Z, and that really upset me that happened. The listener can say, damn, that sucks. And it sounds like you're really committed to having a good relationship with your coworker and having a good communicating relationship with them. And most of the times we're only upset because either an expectation that we had has been broken, or a commitment that we had has been like
Pushed aside, if you will.
Yeah, pushed aside. So if we can, most of the time when we realize what we're committed to is something positive or good, like I know when Alyssa or I do it right, we end up crying because we don't realize that we're upset because of something good. So
no, I agree with that, man. Like you have to be able to talk to somebody. That's a listening skill, though. You know, a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have the ability to understand if somebody's talking to you about their issues.
Yeah,
you don't go straight to talking about yourself. Like a lot of people, they do that, or you know, you don't go straight to fixing the problem. You make the person feel heard and feel better. I saw that here in the comment section. Zach had mentioned. Hold up. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so
I also do want to address Highway Odyssey.
Okay, so I see Highway Odyssey's comment. It says, "We forget that we are not the overcast of depression. We are not the traveling fog that passes by. We are the observer. Our thoughts may be the elements, but our mind is the constant universe." Dang, that's deep. Wow. We forget that we are not the overcast of depression.
Honestly, Highway Odyssey, I think I started reading that and stopped being able to hear whatever Immanuel was saying when I was reading it. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to like understand both of the things that I'm reading and listening to right now. It was too deep for me in the moment, and that's why I skipped over it.
Yeah, that's really deep, man. That goes to your earlier point about how you're an observer of our thoughts. Did you say this in the past?
Say that again?
Did you ever say this in the past, in your past videos?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah, high wind is like really, yeah, we got you, man. We listen to what y'all saying, you know what I'm saying? We try to keep it 100. No worries at all, no worries at all, man. Um, Here, I got, if I'm able to, I do have to go in a little bit because as you
Okay.
know, I do a video every day and I have to do a live stream
Oh,
on
hell yeah.
on my channel. But do you feel like there's any, I don't know, any other things like questions wise that you feel like your audience could either listen to or really need to hear? Or maybe we can even ask the people that are watching right now, do they have any questions?
Yeah.
It's up to you. Which, do you have any questions, bro?
No, well, first off, let's see, give them a second to respond to that because I'm sure they had questions.
Okay, no worries. While they take the time to respond though,
Yeah.
um, I looked at one of your questions, man. It says, what do you think could have been implemented into your education growing up that may have helped with your anxiety, depression? Ooh, to answer
Like in
that,
a sort of a preventative measure rather than, well, were you first diagnosed with either of those
this year.
this year?
Yeah. I went to a therapist in the past and they had said that I might deal with depression, but they didn't like diagnose me with it.
Mm-hmm.
But this year I went to like two different therapists and they were like, this is, pretty much clinical depression and hyperactive thinking. Um, and I was like, yay. So, um, school wise, I feel like school didn't do anything at all talking about mental health in the sense of helping
Yeah.
people at all. What?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um,
I don't know. Is it their
and
responsibility? I don't know.
I mean, I feel like it should at least be in health class talking about mental disorders because I feel like we talk so much about like diseases that diseases are okay to talk about, but mental health is super untouched. And
Hmm.
I imagine part of it is that like it's still changing. Like I feel like there's so much more information now than there was even a decade ago. So, I mean, there's probably no even reasonably good textbook that could be bought. And if there's no textbook that can be bought, well, how are we supposed to teach it?
Right.
And I mean, unless you're like a professor or a physician, um, you're it's probably not a good idea to have you teaching it. So I think I feel like probably the reason that it doesn't get talked about a lot is because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it could create a lot of false confidence in having people talk about it when in fact maybe they're doing a worse job talking about it than if they hadn't brought it up at all. That's one idea. But part of the reason I ask is I think that's really the goal of my channel is the most general statement I think I can create for what the channel is I want to help people elevate their consciousness.
Hmm.
And I think the best way we can do that is, and we just looking at like how a government works. If the government were putting the amount of money that they put into the military into education, we would have a country that works and probably even a planet that works. Um, so I'm constantly asking what can be implemented into education because like we have professional development days and there are a lot of teachers kind of look at professional development days like, oh, like they're going to go torture us for a couple hours and we're going to listen to this thing and we're not
Right.
going to get much out of it. And I mean, I know the school I work is alternative. I work with students that have been placed from other like public schools that system really just didn't work for them. So
Hmm.
they've come to our school. It's a much smaller community. I'm growing to fall in love with this school and this community. It's um, 16 students, three specific staff members for those students. I teach
Hmm.
math and science. One's English and science. One's history and science. Um, every Friday, we go out on an outdoor educational field trip. which could just be going for a hike. Thursdays, we switch off between community service and academic field trip. And every day we talk life skills for at least 40 plus minutes. So like today,
Wow.
today, or let's see, 2 days ago, the social worker came in and shared a story about how it was like a metaphor for how we take our anger, our emotions, our baggage, and put it in a bag. And sometimes if we don't empty that bag, the bag turns into a gorilla and messes with our life. And so today it was a follow-up. I said, well, what's a good way to take things out of the bag? What's a good way to deal with some of those emotions in a healthy way that doesn't mess with our lives? And
Thank you, man. Ooh.
so like it was a good conversation. Like a couple of my students are working on their rapper artist careers. And we pointed out, like, what if you took some of that anger and rather than keeping it down there where it might feel like it belongs, is like, let it come out in your songs, like write about it and let people hear it. Like kind of like what you and I are doing, like sharing our life experiences so that other people can benefit from seeing that we're human too. And this is what we deal with. What if you express your anger that way? So like, I just love the fact that we have these conversations in it. Other schools, sometimes I could get away with talking more about these things, but for the most part, if you weren't talking about math as a math teacher, you weren't doing your job.
Man, I'm so happy you're a teacher, dude. I literally mean it when I say thank you for what you do, because there's not a lot of teachers that have the same perspective as you do. And I know people that are teachers, and I know, like they say, it's very difficult to implement other things outside the curriculum and things like that.
Yeah.
So, the fact that that's your passion, bro. That's your passion, and you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, and you're helping people. We need more people like you, bro.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, seriously, right on for that, man. Right on for that. Real quick, man. Let's answer Highland's question.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what she said. So being the same, I'll read the question out loud. Why not? So being the same age as Zach, there is a developed observation of what our character once was in the past, a calming, humbling reflection. What would you suggest to those that want to be more self-aware? To clarify, how could you be more self-observant at the age that one is, rather than reflect on choices they wish they didn't make later in life? So to me, that sounds like you're asking, how are we able to reflect on the now instead of saying, I wish I had made these different choices in the past? I actually made a video on this recently, and it talked about letting go of the past. And what I've learned is that sometimes you look at the past and say, I wish I didn't make this choice. I wish that I had done this differently. I started this earlier. I didn't do that thing. And all that does is make us miss out on the now and miss out on the present moment. And I think that the past is a great learning tool. If viewed the right way, it's a great learning tool to see what actions we can make now. So if there's things in the past that you wish had started and wish you didn't do, instead of looking at it as saying, I regret not doing those things, you can look at it and say, I know it's easier said than done, but you can try and look at it and say, man, I feel like that thing has taught me that I shouldn't do that, or I feel like that thing has taught me to start earlier instead of being too nervous to. So that's my opinion, trying to reflect on the past on a positive way of growing now instead of a negative and saying, I wish. What do you think about that, bro?
Yeah. I mean, if you can look at your past as an opportunity for how to make the future better, I think that's a great way to look at your past. You were saying something earlier. I forget what it was. It was something you were saying you kind of wish you hadn't gone through or something. It wasn't depression in general. I forget what it was, but like when I'm being good at my journaling, I'm writing down, I write down like a couple good things that happened in my day, and I write down one or two things I wish I had done differently. And if we can look at all of these things that don't occur as all that great in the moment, and we can look at, well, how did I react to it? Would I have reacted differently? How can I react in the future? And sort of make that promise to ourselves, like, hey, if that comes up again, I'm going to react in this way instead of the way that I did. I think that can be a great way to sort of bring some closure to the past. I mean, I'll admit I've lived a pretty comfortable, privileged life. I'll just be really honest. Middle class, white, male, educated parents, had enough, no money struggles really. I don't know. I'm tall, which, I mean, probably people don't realize how much even more that helps me out. But I can't say that I have much of a past that haunts me, or that I haven't really overcome a whole lot in life. So, I mean, bullying's about the majority of it. So that's kind of the best I can do, is take your past and ask yourself, how could you have acted differently, and promise yourself about the future. And I think the first time that you make that promise to yourself and then you act on it as you said you would, I think that can also help bring closure to it. Yeah.
I agree with that, man. I definitely wholeheartedly agree with that. Even if you don't have necessarily a rougher past as some other people, this is your story though. So I think that's a really great point, that you can still reflect on the past, your own past, and still have that lesson from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, dude, thank you, bro. Woo! This was awesome. This was deep.
Yeah. I figured it would go about this deep with you. I mean, so for those who don't know, like, his channel is, was it Depression Talks with Immanuel?
Depression Talks with Immanuel.
Depression Talks with Immanuel.
Depression Talks with Immanuel.
Yeah, I mean, you dig deep every day. He's been doing a 30-day challenge that he's been crushing right now. I have not sent you your package yet. Part of it was that I wanted to have this interview and see if there's anything else that popped in my mind. But I will be sending it in the next day or so. I'm pretty excited for you to receive it.
Okay. I'm excited too. Trust me. Yeah. I
am. But yeah, I'm hoping at some point we'll probably do this again. I had a lot of fun here. I'll look forward to finding other ways we can collaborate. And if you haven't checked out his channel already, go check it out. I'm mad at myself now that I didn't give you sort of a direct shout out, like, hey, go check out his channel at the beginning. But in the description is his Instagram and YouTube. When you're not doing this 30-day challenge, what's your upload schedule? Weekly?
My upload schedule is every Monday and Wednesday. Either Monday. Okay, right now it's every Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. Sundays I do live streams at 12 p.m. Eastern every Sunday. Monday I upload, and then Wednesday I upload.
Are you Eastern?
I am Eastern.
Okay. All right. So we're the same time zone. What did you say? You're in Illinois or Indiana?
Indianapolis. Yeah. Indianapolis, okay. Indiana.
I was thinking you would be like an hour west of me, but we're the same over in Massachusetts.
Where do you? Or Massachusetts?
Yeah.
See, that's cool.
So yeah. Do you want to do your outro?
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to hit like the end call thing or like you do, but I'll definitely do the outro.
The end call disconnects us. The stop broadcast, which is on my screen, ends the connection to YouTube.
Okay. All right. So cool. So I won't hit the red button. Okay. All right. So this is what I say on my channel, in my community. If you want to say it with me, you can. If you don't know it, then it's cool too. All right. I think it's time to end the video. As I always say, do you stay sligelicious and keep smiling. Peace.